everybody, Steffi here from The Makers, and it is a wintry, rainy day today, quite grey, but we'll lighten it all up with imagining that we are in a snowy wonderland, and that the polar bear that we're starting today is a needle felting project, and it comes in three different stages. So we're doing it today, then next week and the week after. And remember, if you're watching us live and you need to rewatch it anytime, then it stays on YouTube, so you can join every single stage of the polar bear at a later time as well. And there's actually another one here, so you can make them standing up in a pose. I will show you how to do this in the third part, or it can just be chilled, really chilled, lying on the glacier, having a little rest, and or maybe they've fallen over from their skiing excursion. Either way will be fine. And as always, on our live streams, whether you watch this live on YouTube or we restream this on a Thursday evening the same week on Facebook, you can win yourself something. And this week you can win. The winner will walk away with two of our icy glacier colored wool bags. This one here is our light blue New Zealand Merino wool bats, and this one here is the mountain sheep aquamarine. So you get a taste for both types of fibers. Both of them are wool bats. Both of them are really easy to shape into 3D needle felting creatures, or whatever you like to make of it, or you can use them to put a little bit of background color for your polar bear. And the question that you need to answer in the comments, remember, we don't judge you by the answer of the question. It's a random pick, and Emma on the other side from The Makers, she will be the one who is like literally pulling the name out of the hat. Not literally, but you imagine it. That's what it's like. And the question that we like you to answer with regards to the polar bear: what is the polar bear doing after he's been on the ski slope, having had a good time? What's he doing afterwards? So tell us what your polar bear, after he's had a wonderful time playing in the snow, maybe falling over a few times, maybe he's done some acrobatics, what is he going to do? Where is he going to go? What is he going to do afterwards? So that's the question to answer. And what I thought might be useful is to mention the three stages that I will be covering throughout the three live streams, because if you're basically just popping in today and you know you can't do next week, then at least you know what you're missing. Because if you have got our polar bear pack, which we've been selling on our website, and if you're watching this live, it's still available until the very last one of the make-alongs. Then you know that you get all the materials in there, including the skis, and you get your instructions. So I'm going to tell you in a minute what we're covering today, and what we're covering next week, and what we're covering in the third week. But before that, I'm going to have a quick look who's here today, because that's always really exciting. So we've got Natasha there. Hello, Natasha. Erica and Carol. Donna. Karen is there. And Jane is there. Hello, Jane. Joe is there. Oh, Joan it's her first time. Guys, be really nice to her. And Joe says, hi everyone, this is my first makers along, and I was so excited I set the alarm on my phone. Haha, I went to the Christmas thing, but this is my first makers make along. Excellent, you're very welcome, Joe. Remember, give us a thumbs up, everybody, not just Joe, anybody on this particular video. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? And if you want to tell somebody one good thing today, then maybe tell them to subscribe to our channel. So that's your one good thing ticked, okay? Fenny is there. Hi, Fenny. Pauline is there. Bridget all the way from Australia. I'm always amazed when people join us from so far afield. If anybody else is from very, very far away, let us know. Jan is there. Teresa. I think I said already Diane, but I might not. Julie. Dawn. Mel. Have I said Erica? Probably. I get confused. There's so many of you watching now. I can't remember. Pamela is there, and Pamela is on the other side. She tunes in all the way from Oregon. So what color socks do bears wear? They don't wear socks. They have bare feet. Of course they have bare feet. Ha ha ha. Oh, we're going to get lots of polar bear jokes, I'm sure. Sandra is there. Oh, and she's coming up with the first answers. Going into the bar for hot chocolate. Oh, that sounds amazing. I can just remember those days playing in the snow, whether you've been lucky enough to go skiing in the past or whether you just go out on one of the rare days here in the UK when it does snow and you go out and a hot chocolate just ticks all the boxes. It's just one of the best things. I used to do cross-country skiing in Norway with my husband, and it was the hot chocolate and just getting back into the warmth and I don't know, just lots of food when you're in the cold out in the snow. All you want is just eat, and you can eat because you're burning so many calories trying to keep warm. Kathleen is there. Diana is there, and I think I'm gonna have to stop saying hello to everybody now because I'll just read what Donna says. She's going to go and lie in a hot tub to ease her muscles with a lovely glass of Prosecco. If not, she will dive down into the sea and catch a tasty fish or two and share it with Mr. Polar Bear. Now, there is a plan. Great. Not that I particularly like the idea of diving into an ice cold sea, but I'm not a polar bear. So, right. So let's see what we're doing. Oh, I haven't tested the overhead camera. This could be interesting. Just, are you ready? Oh, it's perfect. Oh, well. Right, so what I'm going to do, we have the instructions here. If you haven't got the instructions, don't worry. You should be able to follow my step-by-step needle felting instructions here on this live stream. And but if you do have the instructions, and today we're covering basically all of the. In fact, maybe I should bring this little chap here. We're covering all of the basic shape, which is basically the body and the head. That's what we're doing, and we're starting on the legs. So if you are wanting to work ahead, then from part 1 to 2 you can make all 4 legs. On part 2 we're catching up with the rest of the legs, and then we are going to cover the bear with this soft white merino, Cape Merino wool bat, and then we're starting to make this is basically we're joining all the bits together, make the ears and covering him. No, we're not making the ears. That's in part 3 where we're putting details like the nose, eyes, ear, and the polar bear tail. And then the final one, we're also going to shape him so that he could be a standing polar bear, or he could be standing like a polar bear, so you can't see much of him like that. Or you can pose him on his skis, and I will give you hints and tips of how you could do that. So that's basically what I'm planning to cover over the next 3 sessions. So let's get started. So all you basically need in the first session, in your polar bear pack, you have 2 lots of white wool. There's also black wool, so you can put this to one side. We're not going to get to that today, definitely not. And we are only going to get to that in the very last, the third part of making the polar bear. But what we do need is the larger quantity of this white wool, which is our basic core wool. So if you want to buy the bits separately, then this is the basic core wool that we're using. If you've got other core wool, such as our Shetland or our Gotland white, that will work too. And then this soft, lovely soft wool is basically, we're going to put that to one side because that's for covering the polar bear later on with this really nice fluffy snow-like thing. Just bear with me. I just need to do something here, because despite me telling everybody that I'm in a live stream, somebody's trying to contact me. Anyway, that's just beside the point. So now in the instruction it says, and it's always good to follow the instructions. I always say to people when they say, oh, I don't know if I can do this, how am I going to do this? And you just say, start at the beginning. That's a really good, advice. So you have got 50 grams of this core wool. It's slightly bitty, but it doesn't really matter. And you take, so basically you take a good handful, which is about 5 grams. So you want to take a good handful. That is about a handful. Put it to one side. It's always a good thing to put some wool to one side for finishing touches or little. You never know when you might need it, especially if you've got exactly the right amount, like you would get in our polar bear pack. And then you're going to take, of all of this now, you take 1/3. So you're sort of trying to work out, this is not rocket science, and it doesn't have to be that precise. If you do have scales, then by all means use scales to measure out 15 grams, which is 1/3 of the leftover wool, because you've taken 5 grams away. So this is your maths lesson of the day as well. And just sort of roughly take 1/3 for the body. I'm going to use this. And then from the remainder, that last 2/3, which is this one here, split this again into 3. So I'm splitting this now into 3. 2, 3. There. And then for the head, you need 2/3. So I'm keeping that for the head. And sorry, the other way around. Split this again into 1/3, 10 grams for the head, which is the head, and then 2/3 for the legs. So that's, I'm putting that away. So I've got my body, legs, and head here. I've got my extra 5 grams there, and all the other wool that I'm not going to use just yet, I'm putting way out of the way, so I'm not getting confused. So if you've got the instructions, then do look it up on the instructions. But basically, just to reiterate it in case you haven't got these in front of you, from 50 grams, you split off about a handful. Okay, that's about 5 grams, and you put that to one side as a reserve. Then you take 1/3 of the leftover wool, which is 15 grams for the body, and then the leftover, the 2/3 so the 30 grams that's left over, you split into 3 again, and you take one portion, which is 10 grams, and you use that for the head. That's my head here. And then the other 2/3 you keep safe away for your legs. And that's basically it. And then later on, but I'm not doing that now, the legs will be split into 4, obviously. But that will be just too confusing. That's definitely advanced maths, so I'm not going to do that. But in any case, I'm picking up my body part, the part for my body. And when this is sort of, I'm going to go on the overhead camera now, because this is a really useful first little tip here. If you've got wool that's sort of quite, no, I won't use this wool mat just yet because you can't see the wool on top of it. If you've got bitty wool like that, and you need to, what you will see in the instructions and what I will be doing next is you have to roll this into an oval shape. Now to do this, you to get it back into one flat sheet, which is the ideal shape to start out of, take all the bits off that are sort of about to come off anyway, and then you all the bits that you've got that are loose, lay them on top of each other, preferably with the largest piece at the base, so you can make like literally one big sheet again. And then you have one big wad that's now multi-layered, but because you've got the biggest part at the bottom, it sort of, everything else sits on top. So I've got a nice flat sheet here now, even though it's got several layers on top. And all you're going to do now is you're going to roll this into a shape that's sort of oblong, and the measurements in the instructions will tell you that it needs to be about 15 by 10 centimeters long. So, sorry, that's the shape. So 15 centimeters long and 10 centimeters wide. Now, in our instructions, you have got a tape measure here on the left-hand side that runs on every single page on the left-hand side. So you have quite a good indication that this is what you're heading for. Now, this is too long and it is too wide, but I haven't needle felted into it yet. So that's what I'm aiming for, and it's good to know what you're aiming for. So I'm rolling my shape up, and then I'm teasing the last few fibers. Can you see how I'm teasing these out? Because I want to get as much winds on there. Wind ups. Yeah, well, not winding you up, promise. Lots of wraps basically around there until I've got that last thin layer that I'm bringing round, and then I'm using my coarse felting needle and I just stab into it quite superficially, just so I'm closing that shape up and it doesn't pop open. Okay, so that is now I've now fused that. It's very, very soft and squishy. The polar bear in itself won't be solidly needle felted. So if you're a really solid needle felter, then you have to restrain yourself from going absolutely crazy for this. So I've got this by the way is my earth friendly felting mat, which if you haven't got one yet, I have no idea what is wrong with you, but go and get yourself an earth friendly felting mat. You don't have to invest in such a big one. You can have an A5 or even an A6, but they are so well worth it. We have just started sending these wool mats to try out to some serious professional needle felters, and I know that their reviews will be amazing. So watch out for what comes next. So all you need to do now is you're going to stab your shape all around into the short end, just so that you felt it down a little bit more until you get to that desired 15 centimeter length and 10 centimeter width. And if you're shaping anything that you want to maintain a 3D shape, you have to keep turning it. Otherwise you will just felt it flat, and that won't do with a polar bear. So felt into the short ends as well. Be mindful that when you do that, that will shorten your shape, which is maybe what you want, but maybe you don't. Let's just check that against. Yes, so I think my overall length is already achieved. Don't worry if you've got little bits in there. That's just the nature of the core wool. That's only vegetable matter. It's nothing bad, and nobody will know about it once you finish your polar bear, because this is not the finished color on the outside. We are going to use later on this really soft, pure white Cape Merino wool, an absolute favorite of mine for doing a really soft, sort of lovely finished look, whether you use it as a fur cover, or whether you use it as fluffy clouds in the sky on a landscape, or maybe even as a snow cover on a landscape. I also think it looks really lovely when you use it for making little fluffy sheep on a landscape. So that's basically the lovely merino Cape Merino wool. Now, just to remind yourself, you can win yourself today 2 bags, one winner, 2 bags of, I'm just going to take this out, of the mountain sheep. It's called aquamarine, and I don't know if your screen will do it justice, but it is a really lovely, it's like, it's like a glacier sort of color. So it's not quite blue. It's got a bit of a green tinge to it. You can win yourself that, as well as that's 50 grams of wool, as well as our New Zealand Merino light blue, which is just a wonderful sort of blue sky color. You can just imagine that on a snowy day with a bright sun in the sky. So these are really lovely colors, and you can win yourself a bag, each 50 grams, if you tell us what your polar bear gets up to after he's been having fun on the ski slope on his skis. So let us know, what does he get up to, where does he go, what does he do after his skiing adventure. Right, so I've got my body sausage ready here now. It is still very squishy. It's holding together, so it's not falling apart. That's the main thing, and it complies with the measurements, which is 15 centimeter long and then 10 centimeter across the middle, so wide. And now I'm going to go next onto the head. I've got to try and remember which one is the head wool, but I've got it. So there is the head wool. Now this make, the polar bear here, the polar bears have actually, in comparison to the body, quite small heads. I think one of my polar bears has got a bigger head than the other, but this is relatively small, this head. So that imagine this will become the head, and I'll show you now how to make the head. Before I do this, I'll let you catch up a little bit with your body shape. If you're still doing it, maybe you've been distracted by other things, as life often throws these little distractions at us. And if you're watching this live, you've probably been chatting. Not that that is wrong, but let's have a little look what people are coming up with regards to the question to our to win yourself 2 wool bags. So Steph says, hi Steph, he'd be drinking hot chocolate with cream, marshmallows on chocolate shavings and eating triple... I think there's a bit of a chocolate theme going on. Yes, definitely. You like chocolate then, do you? Oh, that's amazing. I love it. Diane says, polar bear will find a hot spring to soak away any aches and pains from skiing all day. Oh. And Mel says she will be in the hot tub with a hot chocolate and a packet of Maltesers. I think, I don't want to say much, but I think we've got some chocoholics here. Amanda says, oh, my polar bear would do the same as me and have a nice glühwein. Oh, I love glühwein. Oh, such a nice thing to have. It's so warming, really is. Put a bit of rum in it just to spice it up. And yeah, you definitely don't feel the cold after that. Rebecca says, the polar bear will be having a well-deserved soak in the bubbly jacuzzi. Nice. So many people have got jacuzzis now that, well, it sort of started, I guess, in the summertime. Do you go in jacuzzi? Well, yeah, I suppose you would go in the jacuzzi, especially in the winter. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but now the second, oh, maybe it's the third lockdown. I think is it the third lockdown? I have no idea. Yeah, because we had a mini one before Christmas. I'm losing count. But it's what a different lockdown to what it was the first time around. I don't want to say that I'm feeling a bit like hemmed in, but I do, because when the weather was really nice and it was snowing and you wanted to go outside, but this morning I took the dogs for a walk and it was raining and I thought, okay, I'm going to cut this walk short and wait for nicer weather. But we are basically, there are 6 of us in our family and we are always here around ourselves. So I hope you're keeping up the good atmosphere within your households if you have to share it with anybody else. And I hope that if you're on your own that you don't feel lonely. So if you do know somebody who might feel lonely, just get them to join. They don't even need to needle felt. It's just fun to join into the chatter here in the comments and just you know, just have a little, just take your mind away just for this 1 hour and just don't think about whatever else might be going on in your life. So keep as I say, keep your hands busy and empty your mind, and then you get a little break, and we're doing it all together, and then you can join us and be in our happy place, as I know you've already been with us for so long. If you want to get more of a dose of what we do, then join our Facebook group Everyone a Maker. We're also on Instagram, where our handle is oh, that was a good word, wasn't it? I'm getting the handle of that now. So basically it's the squiggly bit, which wasn't such a good word, the at, and then the makers with 2 S's, because there's 1 S for Sophie and 1 S for Steffi. There we are. And then on Facebook, if you need to find our Facebook page, if you haven't found us yet, then we are squigglybitthemakers.co.uk. And from there you will find our Everyone a Maker Facebook group. So hopefully that was quite elaborate and explanatory. If you're watching this live in January, today is the 12th of January, then you might also want to pop onto our website, because we've got a January sales going on, and it's been going on for a week now, and we're adding new stuff all the time. So if you think, oh no, I've been there already, I've done all my shopping, think again. We've got more, and it will continue. We're adding it in drips and drabs, because that's the best way for us to do it, so that we can break it down as a workload on our side as well. Right, let's keep going with the head. I'm going to go onto the overhead camera again. So there's my body still, and now I'm going to use the head wool. This one's already nice and broken. If yours is in bits, then repeat what we did for the body by just laying the broken bits on top of each other. When I say broken, I don't mean it's broken, because you can't really break wool, but when the bits have come off. And you need a nice sort of together piece. And so if you try and make that slightly longer than, so just slightly longer than wide, and then what you do is, and this is I repeat this a couple of times, you fold this in half. So I'm literally folding this over in half now. Maybe I should do this off the felting mat. You can see this better. So I've got my piece of wool here, and I'm folding this in half. There, that's my folded edge here now. Okay, And then I'm going to turn it. So now my folded edge is at the top, and I'm going to roll the wool in, trying to roll it tighter at the top so it becomes a little bit more tapered than at the bottom. I'm going to roll my wool up now. So I've made a shaped long sausage. Well, with a bit of imagination, you can see it as that. I'm going to do this again. So you've got your wool batch here, nice, slightly longer than wide. Then you fold it in half, folded edges here, turn it, just one turn, and now you're going to roll it up so that you're making the top where the folded edge is slightly more pointy than the rest of it. And once you've done that, you have already a slightly tapered part here. I've got to turn the page so I don't go off tangent, which is what I'm very famous for doing. So I try and stick to my own instructions, because as everybody knows, there are lots of ways of getting to the same result. So these wispy last ends that I need to felt down again, as you did with the body first. I'm gonna get these down first, there. And then you basically do what you did with the body. You're felting it firmer, but you're concentrating this on the tip of the, so this is going to be the nose of the polar bear, basically. So you only felt the head part, which is about 8 centimeters. That's the part that you're felting, is about 8 centimeters long. So remember, you've got your tape measure here on the left side of our instructions. So get an idea for where that is, about here. I'm going to keep my thumb there so I know what my head is. Now, when you do this, what can happen is that it becomes quite long and not, it's tapered, but it's basically just really thin. So to add, this is a little tip that I'm giving you now, to make it more bulky again, you're going to go into the head at a shallow angle. So you can see what happens. It sort of wants to move the thing that way, which basically means that you're making it slightly fatter. So you're not putting it out of shape, you're just making it slightly fatter. And if you need to go down to a medium felting needle, then do that. This wool is very soft and bouncy, but sometimes that loftiness of the yarn, of the wool, can mean that you actually need to go down a needle size. So if your coarse needle doesn't fit anymore, or it becomes counterproductive in that you're fighting the wool rather than the needle going in, then do change down a needle size. And don't worry so much how much you've got left here, as long as your head is about 8 centimeter long. If you need to make this work a bit faster, you can also just, instead of felting on your mat, you can hold it in your hand and felt into it. Remember that you've got a sharp needle there, so when you stab it into the wool, remember that you don't stab yourself. And again, don't worry too much. I'm just going to change my needle. And remember, don't worry too much if you what was I going to say now? Sorry, I can't do two things at the same time, despite apparently we women are really good at multitasking. But I just need to sort. Okay, I'm just going to share this what I'm doing here. I've got standard needles here, our standard needles. All of our needles are color coded here on top of the needles, so we've got a white one, a green one, and an orange one. The white one is a coarse, so I don't want that one because I've already worked with the coarse. The orange one is a medium, so that's the one I'm going to use, and the green one is a fine, and that might be one that is a possibility shortly. So I'm using the medium needle now, and that feels so much easier. The difference between the needle sizes and how you use them on a project, if you are new to needle felting, then you won't necessarily know that, is that the way that the needle has to work is those little notches at the end of the needle, from where my finger is now to the front of the needle, that's the only working part of the needle. The rest is pretty much useless. You're just holding on to it. It has got notches in the needle, and these notches are facing that way. So when you stab the needle into the wool in that direction, it tangles up the fibers inside, and then when you pull it out, it's smooth. So you don't get any resistance pulling the needle out. It's very smooth, unless you use a reverse needle, and then it's the other way around, but that's a different story. And the movement of the needle as you stab it into the wool needs to be a straight line, straight in and out. So don't do any monkey business like trying to knit or poking or pulling or anything like that. You're literally stabbing. It is literally what it says. And so when the needle bounces off your wool, then you need to usually go down a needle size. So you go maybe from a medium to a fine, or from a coarse to a medium. And if the needle goes in and you can't feel any resistance whatsoever, nothing happens, then you're probably using too fine a needle, and you need to bring your needle size up by 1. Right, there's my polar bear's head now. Let's just check against the measures here, tape measure here. So yeah, that's pretty good. I've got that part is now felted. This is nice and fluffy, and we can go on to the next step, which I will do in a minute, but it involves basically pulling out these unfelted fibers so that you have a nice, like a cone. Look, you can stand it up. And I'm not even going to say anything, because I know what you're all thinking. So I'm not saying anything whatsoever. But things often don't necessarily look straight away what they need to be, and that could be any kind of things. So just to bring this back to a sensible topic, I once tried to make a fox, and it just wouldn't turn into a fox. It kept looking like a pig, and I thought, okay, you're gonna be a pig this time, and I make a fox next time. And yes, so anyway, but mostly you don't have to always give in what it wants to be, because that would be terrible. You just have to be the stronger, convinced party here that it's gonna be what you want it to be, and not what it looks at that precise moment. Anyway, so much for that. Let's see what people are saying as their comments to win the 2 wool bags. And of course we want to know what the polar bear does after he's been in the snow. Pamela says she comes in and makes snow ice cream. Ingredients for snow ice cream: 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, 2 cups of milk, and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. 4 cups of fresh snow mix. Mix it up and serve immediately. Do you know what my children were doing when it was snowing? They did snow cones. Has anybody ever heard of this? I've never heard of it. I don't even know if it's, I mean, they're still alive, so clearly it's not terribly unhealthy. They just took cordial outside into the snow, and then they literally formed a snow cone, and then they poured a bit of cordial over it, and then they ate it. It's like ice cream ice lollies in the snow. I've never heard of it. So where they got that from, I've no idea. I never did that as a child. I ate the snow without cordial, but maybe it's much nicer, obviously, if you've got a nice sweet taste to it. So you have got a little bit longer to give us your comments, but as soon as I have attached I tell you what, as soon as I made 1 leg, that's when we call off the competition. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to attach the head, and then I'm going to start making 1 leg. And if you want to work ahead, then you can make, maybe I manage 2 legs. And but if you feel that you're behind and you want to work ahead for the next session, then just make all your 4 legs, because I will show you how to make the leg by making 2 already. So that's basically the plan for those who need to know what's happening. So I'm going to go, oh no, I was reading comments. Polar bear is sitting in front of a roaring log fire in his chalet, eating cheese fondue, and chocolate dipped strawberries, whilst drinking a hot chocolate sprinkled with mini marshmallow. Okay, I'm gonna have to eat something after this. I definitely have. You've got me on the chocolate theme now. I'm gonna go rooting for chocolate in the house after that. We definitely got hot chocolate in, so that might be my middle daughter makes a really, really good hot chocolate. I think what she does is she uses the hand mixer and whirls it up so it becomes really frothy and yeah, it's almost like a dessert. So I've given you ideas there. Merlington says, hi all, sorry I'm late. Got my skis and poles today ready for this. Excellent, great. You don't need the skis and the poles just yet, but what you do need, you've got just about time to tell us what your polar bear gets up to after he's been on the cold and snowy ski slope. What does he do? And if you tell us what that is, then you can win yourself these two wool bags. They're both wool bats. One is a mountain sheep and one is the New Zealand Merino. And remember, you can re-watch this live on Thursday, the 15th, I can count, 15th of January at 7 p.m. on Facebook. So if you don't know how to find us on Facebook, then you just need to look for at themakers.co.uk, that's us, or just you'll find us, no doubt. Right, okay, so have we got other comments? Oh, we've got loads of comments. Diane says, my polar bear Bert returns to his den where he first makes a hot cup of delicious seaweed tea. Oh, apparently Thursday is the 14th. I can't count. I've got to write this down in the future. I get this wrong every time. So it's the 14th of January 2021. Okay, that's where we are now. So he makes delicious seaweed tea and has a snack of frozen cod. Nom nom. Then he settles down with a good read. Do you know, I really needed to hear that as a compensator for all that hot chocolate. So this is definitely something I won't eat or drink. Julie Green says, my polar bear would enjoy a lovely spiced hot chocolate and a warm cinnamon bun. Oh God, that cinnamon bun, that's just about done it now. My polar bear will be returning to his den to curl up and sleep after his day's exercise. Oh, at least somebody who doesn't think about food. Oh, well done, Laura. My polar bear has said he is organizing a snowball fight after skiing during the day. Aha, so hasn't had enough yet. Oh, and Sarah says, my sale parcel came today. Whoop, whoop. Talking about orders arriving today or not or never. So I've heard in the news today that there are actually parts of the UK that are completely cut off by Royal Mail because of the current situation. So I know that we post the thing and then we just basically hope that everything gets delivered to you as quickly as possible. But we're now in the process of adding a new postal service onto our existing service, which will help you definitely to track your parcel. It will cost a little bit more, but I think the hassle that you guys have had of some of the parcels not arriving, because like I say, this is nothing, nobody is personally to be blamed for. This is just the current situation with everything going on. This might well worth be the extra couple of quid or however much it is to invest, and then you literally can trace your parcel and you get a notification with a delivery time as well. So just giving you the heads up of this, we'll let everybody know when it's up and running, but hopefully this will be by this week anyway. So maybe by Thursday we have the news already if you're watching this on Facebook. Oh, Natasha says, my polar bear is chatting up a lady polar bear over après-ski in the lodge by the fire. Oh, okay, so Teresa has got a practical question. Is there a reason we make the head separate and then attach as opposed to forming it at end of body? Okay, that's a really good question. I just think that if you make the head separate, it then is a separate part of the body rather than it could potentially just end up like a bullet. So making a separate head gives you is an easier way to have being a distinct body part rather than it just being sort of like some one long sausage. Also, and I should say this now, is that if you are wanting to make your polar bear, if you want him to be not flat lying down, you can actually shape him and make him more with his head upright, and that gives you another opportunity to position the head in the right way. I'm gonna go on the overhead camera because I'm getting the giggles here just looking at this shape. So what happens next is that you are attaching this head, which looks ginormous in comparison to the body, but that's fine, onto the body. And what you're doing is you're literally putting this over the body, pulling the wool that you've got spare here over the body. I can't talk right now. Stop. Think of something else, Steffi. Let's think of hot chocolate. I'm gonna have some hot chocolate when I get away from here. So you're attaching this unfelted wool over the body of the polar bear, and you're starting to sort of shape the whole shape now into the body and head part. The other reason why we're doing the head separately is because the head is going to have a lot of work done to it, because we need to attach the nose, we need to attach the ears, and we need to make the eyes in it. So you really need that part to be felted down firmer than the rest of the body. That basically all that happens on the body is that we need to attach the legs, and that's not sort of adding extra features right into the body. So whilst the polar bear's head is just sort of literally sticking up like a rocket at the moment, you can now start shaping it. So imagine that you want this to become more one continuous part. So this is one, if yours looks at the moment like mine, which is more of a badger shape, but what it needs to look like is more like this. So it's hasn't got that neck part as mine has got here. This is when you need your extra bit of 5 gram wool that you've put, or your handful of wool that you've put to one side. So you can actually already start adjusting the shape at any point. And this is why it's so important to have that extra bit of wool. Now you may not need to do this, but if your polar bear has got sort of quite a distinct neck there, then you can make that neck disappear by just adding more bulk to it and shaping him accordingly. So I'm going quite at a shallow angle into the shape. Do you know what has occurred to me? It's sort of my worst nightmare, that I'm actually sitting here in front of a camera and I'm making something that looks nothing like what it's meant to look. So far, I've been lucky. And the head is definitely firmer than the body. That is exactly why we're making the head separately. So this part, I can feel it. This is really soft, and this part is definitely firmer, which is the head part. Okay, so I know it looks nothing like a polar bear just yet, but it will, trust me. So if you imagine, I always think for you guys it works probably if I take the ready-made polar bear, and if you just look at the shape here and look at the shape there, and the only reason why this looks different at the moment is because it's sort of shaped more down. Can you see? So as soon as you start shaping it to become that rounded shape, which we don't need to do just yet because that's just a few stabs, you can see that this is pretty much getting to that desired shape that we want to get to. So again, if you've got, like I have here, where I've put, that's sort of the part where the head part has reached down to. You can cover that up as well, but remember we're covering all of this with the Cape Merino, so that will take care of any unsightful parts and bits that we can see right now. This core wool is not is definitely a core wool. It is not, I mean, saying that I have needle felted with it as a finished look on the outside, but it's definitely more of a wool that needs to be inside and then covered up. So felting all over. I'm using my medium needle. This is the standard medium needle. If you've got a twisted needle, brilliant. They work really well with getting the shape down as well. So I am now just felting it down a little bit more, and I'm actually starting to make that curve. So if you've decided where the top of the bear is, which is here, and where the bottom of the bear is, then start curving it so that the head comes slightly down. Can you see how? Imagine the legs aren't there, so, and the ears and the eyes, but that's basically the shape of the polar bear. So they have really thick necks. So that's why we didn't want that neck part to be so visible. They've got quite small heads in comparison to the rest of the body, and really thick, strong necks, because they are extremely strong creatures. So there we go. I'm going to put this to one side now, because that is as far as we go with with the body and the head. I know it's not very satisfying when you can't see it quite a bit more yet, but I want to get to the legs. So we've got all of this, we've put this to one side, the leg part, remember from the very beginning. If you've missed it, then it's worth going back to the beginning of the video if you're not watching this live. In fact, you can go back anytime, even now. But if you've got the instructions, it also tells you in there how to split all of the wool so that you have the body, head, and legs, and then extra bits for the ears and so on as well. So I've got to split this into 4 equal parts now, or thereabouts. 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I've got my 3 parts here, I'm putting them to one side. I've just got my 1 leg part here. I'll put this wool mat away so I can show you. And also, this is now the cutoff for the competition. So before I start this, I'm just going to go and check in again. This is the cutoff of the competition, making the legs. So Emma, if you can start picking a winner while I just read some of the other bits here. Oh, Alex has just joined. Hi everyone, late but got here. My polar bear does what my dog Falca is doing at the moment, sleeping. Haha, says Claire. Alex says, my polar bear will warm his paws, then curl up for a rest watching Steffi on YouTube. Oh, thank you, Alex. Oh. What do polar bears eat for lunch? Icebergers. Oh. It's actually all the time we're making jokes about polar bears, but it's actually really sad because of course their natural habitat is under such massive threat that we all need to keep the polar bears in our hearts, because you know, their living area is disappearing rapidly, and so it is really very, very sad. There are lots of polar bear charities out there, and if you want to do something good, then maybe look at what they're offering, what you can do to help polar bears. So yes, because they are definitely their natural habitat is under threat, and that can only mean one thing: there's going to be less polar bears, or they're causing such havoc elsewhere that nobody likes them anymore, and we all love polar bears. Right, so we're waiting for the winner to be drawn on this one. Oh, we've got the winner now. Okay, so we have got a winner, and it is Julie G. Julie G. And Julie said, my polar bear would enjoy a lovely spiced hot chocolate and a warm cinnamon bun. It was probably the cinnamon bun that did it. Who knows? Anyway, Julie, you've won yourself these 2 bags. If you could email us, Emma will put our email address in the link as well, but I can tell you what it is. It's info@themakers with 2 s's.co.uk, and just let us know that you're the winner, and then give us your postal address so we can get those wool bags out to you ASAP. Right, leg wool, that's coming next. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make 1 leg for the polar bear. Need to get back to my right page. So you've got to take one of the 4 leg portions, and as with the head, keep the wool flat. Done. We've got my 1 portion here, and this should be about 10 to 12 centimeters square. So this one is definitely bigger. So I'm going to take some off, just because it's my portion, my 4 portion. Doesn't mean to say I have to do all of this. So I'm taking some of the wool off so that I have got more of the 10. So I've got a tape measure down here by the bottom as well, but you can actually use your centimeter measures on the left hand side of the instructions. And then you're going to fold this into half again, exactly as you've done before. So this time the longer side is well, it says sort of 10 to 12 centimeters square, so it should be quite squarish, so no longer side. And then you fold this in half, and the folded edge this time is at the top, so you've got your patch here. If it's bitty, then do what we did at the very beginning for the body. Fold it in half, and now all you're doing is, like with the head, you're rolling this in from the side, but this time you're keeping the whole length of that sausage the same shape, so you're not trying to make it tapered, you're actually keeping it the same size. Back comes my wool mat there, And so the wispy ends that you've got there as a last bit, you're going to felt down as before. You'll be an expert by now how to do that. And that secures the shape. So you've got, that's going to be your leg, basically, for the polar bear, not yours. Oh, just dropped the needle, so that's not good. Okay, so I'm going to look for that very carefully in a minute, but I'm on my own in this room, so nobody else is going to stand on it. If you do needle felt, maybe it wasn't a needle, maybe it was something else, because all my needles are here. If you do needle felt and you have to keep your needles safe, you can see I'm sticking them into the top of my wool mat. And then, of course, if you buy needles from us in the tubes, they're secure container. You can just put them in there and screw them up, and then put them somewhere safe, so out of reach of little hands and those who shouldn't really hold a needle. And now all I'm going to do is I'm shaping my leg. It's I want it to be slightly flatter rather than completely round. So what you've just seen me do is I stab into it, and then I'm turning it literally round and do the other side. But I'm going to have to felt it also, so that the sides are felted down. So I'm actually felting into the sides rather than turning it. I'm felting into the sides because I'm maintaining a flatter shape that way. And on the instructions, I'll do the ends as well, obviously, because that's going to be the paw part. So you, if you look at the polar bear here, he's got quite flat. They're quite solidly felted, these legs, but they're definitely flatter than you would sort of imagine the body to be. So we want them to be flattish, but not completely flat, which is why we've rolled it into a nice 3D shape, and now we're making that a flatter shape. And your there is actually a picture on the instruction that sort of shows the proportions of the leg in proportion of the proportion of the leg in proportion of the body. So I think it's okay. I could always felt the body down a little bit, but because it's so much give still in the wool, when I'm attaching the leg, I can do all of that at the same time. And it's always better to have it soft and have to shrink it down than to have it really firmly felted and it's too big, because then you need to I don't know, sometimes there have been dramatic operations with needle felted items, and all you do is you just keep these wispy ends here soft again, and you're making basically 4 legs, 4 the same legs. So I will show you the leg making again. I'm not going to attach it, we're going to do that next week, so that's our next week project. That's one of the portions here. This is a bit more bitty, so I'm taking the bits off that sort of stop it from looking neat like a flat sheet and put them on top of it. And I think because I took a bit of the other one, I'm going to do that too. So what I'm doing is I fold it in half, and then I roll it in from the side so that it becomes a nice fat sausage. Pull out the last few whispers, and then I use those my needle to stab in those last few whispers. Those legs, you should be able to make them quite quickly. Once you've done one, you can just do the other one. Try and make them the same. So if one is slightly bigger than the other, that's not a moment for panic. That just means that you can adjust it when you attach it later. So you can make the leg with me while I'm doing it, or if you want to catch up, you could already make 4 legs. I will show again. The part 2 will start out by making another leg, and then we will attach the legs to the body. I've written it actually down what the stages are. Let me just go through this again. So the first we're making the body, head, and start the legs, which is what we've done, and you can make the legs at home. And then part 2, which is next week, so that must be the 19th of January at 1 p.m. again on YouTube. And that continues with the legs, so I make 1 more, and then you felt it all together, make the ears and the tail, and felt those on, and then we're starting to cover the bear with that soft Cape Merino wool. And then part 3 starts with continuing and finishing the cover of the bear. We're making the eyes and the nose, and then we pose the bear. So that that is part 3 of this 3-part tutorial of how to make a polar bear, a skiing polar bear if you like. But in the next part I will also cover, you could attach the legs in a different position if you want to make a standing up bear. So that's the 2 legs I'm doing today, and that's what my polar bear looks like at the moment. That's my 2 legs to go with it. And if you want to craft a head, you can make all 4 legs, and then we join them together and join them up and join them onto the bear next week. That's basically all I'm going to do on the polar bear today. What I do have, however, I want to share something that's upcoming. You've all been amazing with the hoggies. We've had a whole fun session making the hoggy family leading up throughout Advent to Christmas. And of course, I can say this now, it's not a surprise anymore. On Christmas Day, you were unpacking the materials to make a little hoggy baby. And here, Heather is holding her baby tightly in her arm. And she's, I don't know if you're meant to carry a hoggy baby in that way, or whether there is a better way of doing it, but that's how Heather does it, and she should know because she's had 2 other children and they've turned out all right. They're actually sitting here, Holly and Yui, and that reminds me, if you are buying anything from us this month in January 2021, you can you get our newsletter with a free tutorial of how to make a bobble hat, which works perfectly for the polar bear. The bobble hat is also a free tutorial available on our website, so you can just go onto our website, look for free tutorials and find the bobble hat, or type in bobble hat. That should take you to the free tutorials as well then too. And you could use the blue wool to make a bobble hat, the blue wool bats, Julie G, if you want to. You can make absolutely loads of them. And so that's what I'm trying to say. I'm getting completely distracted. On the 25th of January, we're going to launch the Hoggy Pack as a non-Christmas version, and for this one you can join our competition, which is not coming soon because we've already started doing the posts on Facebook. You can join us, go onto our Everyone a Maker page, and on there is the other details for the competition, where you post your Make-Hoggy family reunion photos, and we will pick a lucky winner. And as it says, it started on the 4th of January, so we're right in the throes of it. Come, don't be shy. Show us your whole family. We're gonna take another photo so we can have all 5 Hoggy family members on there as well, and it would be really nice to see yours join the collection of the Hoggy families. And I have seen, honestly, I think this time you really have topped any expectations that we've ever had. The accessories, the setting, the extra family members, the detail in the makes of the hoggies, you know, with Heather having eyeshadow and the clothes that they're wearing and the accessories that you have adorned them with, has been absolutely amazing to watch. It's so much detail. So yes, do share yours, even if they're naked, it's fine. We like to see a few naked hoggies too. So after all, that's what they're like in real. Do come and share your photos with us on that particular post, and then we have a winner to announce at some point too. And on the 25th of January, we are launching the Hoggy Pack. So if you've missed out and you get inspired by seeing all this hogginess going on, then you can make your own after that. And the only other thing I will say is that the weekend hug for March is now open for booking. We're just packing the boxes for the end of January weekend hug, and it is pretty awesome what's going inside. I think everybody in our workshop has said, oh, I want one of those boxes. I want one of those boxes. It's not just that you can make a large Valley black nose lamb. You can and you can see how big it is in comparison to the apples on the ground. They're not mini apples, they're just normal size apples. There is also lots of lush extra treats in there, and we have a Saturday evening surprise as well. So well worth booking onto it. Something to look forward to, something to get you through the tough times right now. And what we normally do is we sort of set up a Facebook group, which is a private group just for the participants of the Zoom weekend hug, and there's only 10 Zoom places available, so it stays quite small, quite one-to-one, and people can get to know each other. And if you've ever been to one of our retreats, then you know that we don't do things by halves. So if you're interested in signing up for this, you need to email us at info@themakers with 2s's.co.uk, and then we can put you on the list. And then when you can book now. We've done the list bit, so you can book straight away. And then one other thing I will say is we have had a most fantastic increase in subscribers for our Barn Owl subscription box, so I thought I'd bring her out again. I have seen some amazing, it's been the right time at the right place. I don't know what was happening, but we have seen so many amazing barn owls that were born, and they look perfect. They all go through funny stages. There's quite some funny posts on Everyone a Maker. I'm not going to go into it, but wonderfully done. And remember that there are some Zoom sessions that Alicia, who is not here today, she's probably working, runs privately to help all of our subscribers to maybe just get together, and if they get stuck on anything, or maybe just have a bit of fun and have a chat. So she's been inundated with people. I want to do this. I want to do this. It's free. All you need is your subscription box, and of course we have got 3 subscription boxes. This is the Makers box, which January is the large barn owl. We have got our fairy box, which is the little love fairy. She's normally holding a heart, but she must have given it to somebody already. She does hold a key, and that might be the key to your heart, who knows. But you can make her. And then of course we've got a surprise box, which is themed people, and that sort of reminds me just to let you know that next month, which is February, is all about making dolls, and it has got needle felting aspects into it, but there will be some sewing involved as well, and it's all about making a mini me. And I have been thinking, and I've already got an idea what I'm going to make, because it's also it's so exciting, all these things happening. But in March it's Mother's Day, and my mum unfortunately isn't around anymore, but I'm going to make a mini me of my mum. There you go. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to dig out some photos. I'm going to start getting my thinking hat on. And if you've got the People's Surprise box, you can already do a bit of practicing, because you've got pretty much a good selection in there to help you make this. And remember, our surprise boxes, they're not project based, they're just theme based. And if you can make something from it, then share it with us. There's all of our subscription boxes have got competitions running alongside as well. We just want to give it away, see? You don't even have to buy anything, just enter the competitions and you get it all for free. Right, that's definitely overrun my time. Nothing else to say. I'm going to say goodbye, I think. Just check into the chat. Do we need to make the other 2 legs as homework? You don't need to make the other 2 legs. I'm going to start the next part with the legs again. So but if you want to make the other 2 legs, you can. That's what I'm trying to say. If you want to be ahead of the game, then please feel free to do it. And that's it. I want to read some more of these comments now, but the competition is over, so you have another chance to win the 2 wool bags on Thursday, the 14th of January at 7 p.m. over on Facebook. And that's it, all from me. Stay safe, stay positive, keep your hands busy, keep your mind empty, don't watch the news all the time, it's not good, and just keep a steady keel, because we're all in this together, and there will be an end to it, like there is an end to this tutorial right now. Bye!